Hi, I'm John Messara and I'm delighted to welcome you to the 2020 Arrowfield Stallion Parade. It's been a very difficult year globally and even for us here in the breeding industry in New South Wales, but nevertheless it's been a good year in terms of achievements at Arrowfield, highlighted by the achievements of this horse Snitzel, and this is his new sculpture, which we commissioned about a year ago in expectations that he might win his 4th championship. We're very proud of this horse, and along with him we've had a good year in terms of racecourse results and breeding results. It's been a slightly different team effort this year, but a terrific one to be able to bring you this virtual Stallion Parade under the new conditions that we live in. So I now pass you on to Susan Archer. Thank you.
Thanks, John. It's wonderful to see the new Tanya Bartlett statue of our champion sire Snitzel with stallion manager Joe Hickey, and I can't wait to see it at the farm. But in the meantime, it's my great pleasure to take you through the 2020 Arrowfield Stallion Parade. So please sit back and enjoy getting up close and personal with the 8 stunning stallions we're proud to present in 2020. This is our homebred pin-up boy, Showtime, the brilliant group-winning son of Snitzel, whose first foals we just can't wait to see this spring. $1 million yearling, he lived up to his looks as a racehorse, competing with class and tenacity against the best of his own and the older generation. Showtime was right in the mix among the best 2-year-olds of his year, finishing in the first 4 at group and listed level against She Will Reign, Invader, Gunnison and Pariah. He hit full stride the following spring, winning the Group 2 Stud Stakes over 1,600 metres at Moonee Valley, and went straight to centre stage as an autumn 3-year-old. After a second to champion sprinter Trapeze Artist in the Group 2 Expressway Stakes, Showtime put up a tremendous fight to finish a close 3rd behind Brave Smash and Tosin Stardom in the Group 1 Weight for Age Futurity Stakes. Showtime's final victory came as a spring 4-year-old in the Weight for Age Group 2 PB Lawrence Stakes over 1,400 metres at Caulfield. Again, he relished that on-pace battle, and he won it, defeating multiple Group 1 winner Hartnell and 6 other Group 1 winners. Head-turning looks and a lovely temperament, the CV of a quality sprinter miler in the best company over 3 seasons, and a top-draw pedigree to boot, as a son of champion sire Snitzel and full brother to Group 1 winner Sweet Idea. Showtime served a first book of 129 mares in 2019 with tremendous support from his syndicate. Greg and Barb Ingham are among the shareholders returning this year with 2 of their best mares. And Arrowfield is very happy to back up this year with 29 of our mares booked to him. Showtime's first foals premiere this spring, and he stands at $11,000 including GST. There's a really big gap on the Arrowfield roster in 2020, and this is the guy ready-made to fill it, Pariah. It's the gap left by our little engine that could, Not a Single Doubt, who retired earlier this year. And come to think of it, it's also the gap left by Beneteau, who died in 2013 after only 2 seasons at stud. 83 stakes winners, 16 Group 1 winners and $130 million in prize money between them. Not a Single Doubt, Beneteau and Pariah, all cut from the same template for success. All by the legend himself, Redout's Choice, sire of 11 Group 1 siring sons. All bred and raced by Arrowfield. All brilliant stakes-winning 2-year-olds. In Pariah's case, the Group 3 Canonbury Stakes on debut in race record time. Like Beneteau, Pariah was placed in the Group 1 Blue Diamond. Like Not a Single Doubt, he trained on. Pariah won the Group 3 San Domenico first up as a 3-year-old. Also like Not a Single Doubt, Pariah is from a powerful stallion-producing family. His three-quarter sister is dual Group 1 winning sprinter Melito, and his relative is leading sire Zeditav. And he's bred on the same Redute's Choice Hassanet cross as last season's star 2-year-old King's Legacy. We're not alone in spotting all these factors for stallion success. PARIAH served 243 mares in his first 2 seasons and has already posted a 6-figure weanling, the colt out of Astrophysical Jet. Arrowfield has 23 first crop PARIAH yearlings for the 2021 sales, 28 PARIAH foals due this spring, and 32 mares booked to him in this, his 3rd season. We call it the season of opportunity. PARIAH stands at $16,500, including GST in 2020. We have just one shuttle stallion on the Arrowfield roster in 2020, and boy, are we glad to have him back. This is SHALAA, the champion 2-year-old colt of Great Britain and France that Frankie Dettori rated the fastest 2-year-old he'd ridden. He arrives with a really promising set of results from his first 2-year-olds in Europe, including 5 early winners and a Royal Ascot Group performer. Meanwhile, his first Australian 2-year-olds are in the care and management of syndicators like Star Thoroughbreds, agents like Louis Lemaitre and Damon Gabbardy, and trainers like Chris Waller, Gay Waterhouse and Kieran Maher, that simply had to have a SHALAA. That's why he averaged more than 5 times his fee across all yearling sales, why his major sale average exceeded $230,000, and why his top price was $600,000 paid by John Sadler for the Jemison colt. So what's all the fuss about? Well, take a look at him. SHALAA is brimful of the quality and athleticism we've seen him leave consistently in his first 2 crops. He was a natural, high-class 2-year-old. He won 5 of his 6 starts at 2, including the Group 1 Deauville Prix Morny and the Newmarket Middle Park Stakes. He's the best 2-year-old son of exceptional sire Invincible Spirit, whose sons I Am Invincible, Kingman and Cable Bay are proving so successful in Australia and Europe. And the icing on the cake, SHALAA is a perfect match for our Danehill rich broodmare population. SHALAA has received outstanding breeder support in Australia, serving more than 450 mares in his first 3 seasons, and Arrowfield is backing him all the way, with 34 of our mares visiting him this spring. SHALAA stands at $33,000, including GST, in 2020. DUNDEEL the racehorse easily justified his tagline, "The Real Deal." And he's needed only 3 crops of racing age to earn his next tag, Future Champion Sire. In fact, only Danehill and Redute's Choice in Australia have ever sired more Group 1 winners in their first 3 seasons than our champion son of High Chaparral. And like those 2 legends, DUNDEEL has very quickly exceeded his brief. It began as we might have expected with Sheikh Hamdan's Derby-winning colt Atyab in South Africa, then exploded with a pair of superlative 2-year-olds, Your Deal in New Zealand and Millennium and Champagne Stakes winner Castelvecchio in Australia. DUNDEEL sprang a few more surprises last season. His second crop son Super Seth sped from the clouds to land the coveted Caulfield Guineas. That's a race Danehill didn't win until a 6th crop colt called Redute's Choice did it in 1999. 2 weeks after the Caulfield Guineas, Castelvecchio lined up in the Cox Plate, and it took Japan's Horse of the Year Lee Gracieux to best him. That earned Castelvecchio a rating among the world's best 3-year-olds of 2019. He then franked his spring form with a dominant Rosehill Guineas victory, while the inevitable Entente and Profit kept DUNDEEL stakes performers to runners' strike rate above 8%. After all that, it's no surprise that DUNDEEL's 2020 major sale yearlings averaged $231,000, or that his top price was the $750,000 that James Harron paid for the Scarlet Moretta colt, or that the list of DUNDEEL buyers reads like a who's who of the Australian thoroughbred industry. And with around 400 two-year-olds, yearlings and this season's foals in the pipeline, we think DUNDEEL is only warming up, which is why the Arrowfield mares visiting him in 2020 include Group 1 and 2 winners Maid of Heaven, Politeness, Stay With Me, Don't Doubt Mama, Kebede and Whispering Brook. DUNDEEL stands at $66,000 including GST in 2020. He's the Champagne 2-year-old, the Classic 3-year-old and the Cox Plate runner-up. This is CASTELVECCHIO, and we're proud to launch his stud career in 2020. Of course, Arrowfield knew him first as the DUNDEEL St. Therese colt we bred and sold to Ottavio and Wendy Galetta as a yearling in 2018. Less than a year later, everyone knew him as CASTELVECCHIO, who scored an eye-popping win at his 2-year-old debut in Sydney, then did it again in the $2 million Inglis Millennium. Group 2 and Group 1 placings followed, and then at only his 5th start, he defeated Loving Gabby to win the Group 1 Champagne Stakes in 1:33.31, the fastest 1600 metres ever run by a 2-year-old at Randwick. That sealed CASTELVECCHIO's status as Timeform's co-champion 2-year-old with a rating of 121. For some colts, that 2-year-old record is more than enough to retire on. But for CASTELVECCHIO, it was the prelude to even bigger things at 3. His Spring 3-year-old campaign included a 2nd in the Group 1 Spring Champion Stakes, producing the fastest last 600 metres of that race. Then came the Group 1 Cox Plate, a superb international field, and it was CASTELVECCHIO who took the lead around the home turn. He had the measure of Te Akau Shark from New Zealand, Magic Wand from Ireland and Mystic Journey from Australia. It took Japan's Horse of the Year, Lee Gracieux, to get past him by just 1.5 lengths, a much tighter margin than the mare's domestic rivals could manage in 2 Group 1 wins either side of her Cox Plate triumph. One more test remained for CASTELVECCHIO, an autumn classic success, and he ticked that box with a flourish, emulating his sire DUNDEEL with a gritty victory in the Rosehill Guineas. A Group 1 winner at 2 and 3, half-brother to a Group 1 winner with champion speed from 1200 to 2000 metres. He's a supremely athletic individual with a Danehill free pedigree and 42 Arrowfield mares in his first book, including our queen, Miss Finland. This is CASTELVECCHIO, and he stands his first season at $33,000 including GST. It's not often that a stud finds itself short of stallions, but that's what happened to us this year. So we were thrilled to negotiate with Woodside Park Stud to stand Victoria's champion sire, Written Tycoon, at Arrowfield in 2020. He brings the proven performance of a leading Danehill free sire to New South Wales, and his warm reception by breeders gives him a great opportunity with a fresh pool of mares. Not that Written Tycoon's record needs too much embellishment. Last season he completed his 5th consecutive top 10 finish on the General Sires Premiership with almost $11 million prize money and 8 stakes winners. They include Group 1 winning sprinters Pippi and Tyzone, Group 1 placed 2-year-old Old Kirk and 3-year-old group winners Hightail, Dirty Work and Banquo. They take Written Tycoon's lifetime record to 34 stakes winners and 9 Group 1 winners, a tally that is poised to grow significantly in the next few years. That's because his best bred crops, totalling more than 500 foals, are still coming on stream, led by his just turned 3-year-olds. they'll set a lively market for the crop conceived at Arrowfield this year. Written Tycoon's racetrack results are matched by his sale ring performance. He averaged $259,000 across the 2020 Magic Millions and English Easter sales. And his daughter out of Karuta Queen sold to Seamus Mills for a record top price of $1.5 million at the Magic Millions sales. Another 10 Written Tycoon yearlings made $300,000 or more in 2020 and were bought by the likes of Aquis Farm, China Horse Club, Newgate Bloodstock, Mitchell Bloodstock, Duncan Ramage and Mick Price. Written Tycoon arrived at Arrowfield in magnificent order, and he's ready to write a bold new chapter in his story, starting with a wonderful book of mares, headed by the great Black Caviar. We're privileged to have Written Tycoon on our roster this year, and he stands at $77,000 including GST. Until this year, only 5 stallions in Australian thoroughbred history had won 4 consecutive General Sire Premierships, and none had done it since Danehill's majestic sequence 15 years ago. Now, in perhaps the most competitive stallion era in our history, Snitzel has joined that illustrious group. He's done it in the 2019-20 season with prize money of almost $18 million, $2 million clear of his nearest rival. He's done it with 18 stakes winners of 25 group and listed races, heading the list on those scores too. He's done it with spectacular 2-year-olds, including champion 2-year-old filly Elect, Away Game, as well as Let's Be Glam, Makrura and Wild Ruler. He's done it with brilliant 3-year-olds, Exhilarates, Akari, Muse, Way Up in the Sky, and his milestone 100 stakes winner and rising star, Splintex. He's done it with quality older horses, his 14th Group 1 winner, I Am Excited, plus Sylvia's Mother, Irithea, Scalopini, Snitz, Spending to Win, Sure Knee, and Taikamochi. He's done it with champion sprinter and 2-time Everest hero Redzel, who retired this year with earnings of more than $16 million. And Snitzel has done it despite being a Danehill grandson meeting a Danehill saturated broodmare population. Just across those 4 championship seasons in Australia, leaving out the rest of his career, Snitzel's achievements are simply staggering. Prize money of $87 million, 62 stakes winners, 6 Group 1 winners, 4 of them champions, 96 2-year-old winners, almost 1 in 5 of them stakes winners, an average yearling price of almost $400,000 and $19 million plus yearlings. And here's a thought. With all that we know about him, his amazing vigour and temperament, and the mares he's seen in the past 4 years, the age of Snitzel is not over yet. In fact, 3 weeks into the new season, he's once again on top of the sires list. Snitzel's fee in 2020 is $165,000, including GST. The champion 3-year-old colt, the 5-time Group 1 winner and the best racing colt by super sire Redout's Choice. The Autumn Sun has everything, but most of all, he's a story of speed. But how fast was he? Let's start with his debut win over 1,200 metres at Randwick in April 2018. He sat wide and ran greenly in the straight, yet still won easily and stopped the clock at 108.61. That's the fastest 1,200 metres run by a 2-year-old at Randwick ever. He won his second start over 1,400 metres at Randwick in 122.92 and 2 weeks later won the JJ Atkins Group 1 at Doomben. As a spring 3-year-old, the Autumn Sun ran 122.24 to win the Group 1 Golden Rose from the outside barrier at Rosehill. Then came the Group 1 Caulfield Guineas, where he raced 3 wide without cover, yet won by 4.5 lengths, posting the 3rd fastest time in the 139-year history of the race, faster even than his sire's heroic guineas when 19 years earlier. The Autumn Sun's own heroic moment came at headquarters in March 2019 when he defied impossibility to land the Group 1 Randwick Guineas in 133.72, equalling the race record. So how fast was the Autumn Sun? His champion trainer Chris Waller has the answer. Really fast. The Autumn Sun, superstar of his generation, a pedigree that combines the very best of Europe and Australia, a physique and temperament to die for, and the spearhead of the next generation at Arrowfield. His first foals arrived this spring, but Arrowfield has already committed around 40 mares to his second book. The Autumn Sun stands at $66,000 including GST in 2020. Thank you for joining us for the 2020 Arrowfield Stallion Parade. We wish you good health, good fun and good fortune in racing and breeding in the new season.